Hey, this is Tony Byrne back with another episode of the Realtor Hot Seat. This week we have Patti Hinman from Windermere Real Estate in Liberty Lake. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Let's start by you telling us about your business and Windermere and all those things in general.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name is Patti Hinman with Windermere and Liberty Lake, and I'm here with Tony, and I really appreciate you having me here, by the way. So my business, well, it turns out it's not just about houses. It turns out it's more about people. I love people. I really love to connect with people and understand, I guess, their deepest needs. So from that perspective, it's been interesting learning the business from that and thinking about that. So what I found out is understanding the needs of the other person on the other side really helps the person that I'm helping.
Right.
So if it's the buyers or the sellers. So an example is when I'm representing a buyer, there's the seller on the other side is another person with needs and wants and dreams and all that kind of stuff. And so understanding that, you know, I call up the listing agent and just say, hey, what would make it a really great offer for your people? And they, you know, what about the closing date? What about, you know, all kinds of things that they need. And so that gives my buyers the edge, because I'm basically going to sell my buyers to the seller by tightening up the inspection time, by knowing exactly the things that they need. They want to make sure that this closes on time. Okay, well, here this person is not just pre-qualified, but all the way through underwriting. It's this is going to be open and booked, you know, just closed.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's been really awesome to figure that out.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it isn't always, like you said, it's not just about do you offer the most money, because, and well, sometimes it is, but it may be they just need to be out of the house as fast as possible, and they're willing to take less money to do it if you can close it fastest. So
absolutely,
that's a good asset for everybody, you know, you and your clients and everybody trying to buy houses.
Yeah.
That call should be made, and if not, you're probably not working with the right person. So is there a neighborhood in Spokane that you seem to focus on or do a lot of business in or have experience more than others in?
Well, it turns out that my business has come from referrals and friends and that kind of thing. So I don't have it focused on a neighborhood. It's been kind of all over.
I think it's important that they know, potential homebuyers know, that you don't necessarily have to have the agent that works right down the street from you in your neighborhood, because one, because of the internet, but two, it's more about hiring someone that is going to help you sell your house that you can get along with.
Absolutely. Actually, that's a really good point. At Windermere and Liberty Lake, we have walk-ins. And one time I had a walk-in come in, and they were from Michigan or Minnesota or something like that. Sorry, the Midwest, I kind of forget which am. But anyway, he came in and he said, okay, now tell me why you want me, or why I should have you as my realtor. And I was like, I can't really tell you that. We have to be able to work together. We need to know, we need to just talk with each other and find out, is the chemistry right? Are we going to like each other? Because we're going to wind up spending a lot of time together.
Right.
So, yeah, it has to do with getting along with somebody, knowing that they're a professional, knowing that they're on your side. That to me is a really important part.
Right.
Do you really care about my welfare? You know, are you there for me? That's kind of how I like to run my business, you know.
I think at the end of the day, like, the market is the market, you know, like, your job as a realtor is to understand the market all over Spokane. And if they don't understand that in general as a realtor, then you're probably not going to get any listings. Right. And then whether you market a listing whether it's in Coeur d'Alene or in Seattle, it's all, the marketing plan is, I would assume, typically the same. And so, or generally the same. Obviously there may be some things different, but I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where the listing is. It's choosing someone that you like and you like working with and you trust to,
Yes.
whether it's your home and you need the most money or to sell the fastest or whatever it is.
Whatever it is,
that person needs to understand that.
Yeah, well, you do wind up spending a lot of time with it, and especially if you're working with sellers, sometimes it's so emotional. They're crying, they're selling the home that they brought their baby home in, baby to, or just that connection they have with that place. It's really important to have somebody that cares about that and knows, when you get to the signing table, a lot of times they're still trying to move out of their house. They're in their sweats and they hadn't taken a shower, they just have hats on, and they're not always at their best. And so knowing that the person, sitting there with you cares about you, whether you're at your best or not, is kind of an important thing.
Yeah.
It's very,
Yeah.
it's a difficult process.
Yeah. Tell us about as we head into the winter months, about the real estate market in Spokane.
Okay. Well, I guess coming off of May, June, July, it is not as frenetic as it was then,
Yeah.
which is a relief. You're not. I just feel like people are able to think a little bit before actually doing something, whereas before you were just writing lots of offers and with another 13 people, and it was a little too, it was frenetic, like I said.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it's not, and then the curve is not like this now, it's more like this in terms of, going from the prices. They're staying more level.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that it's not necessarily as competitive offer-wise
Right.
for clients. It's still competitive because there's still, there's a lot of people that were in those, that were 12 of the 13 people that didn't get their offer accepted that are still trying to find homes. But
Yeah.
some of those people actually have left the market, and now's, I would say, probably a good
time to get back in.
Yeah. And because people will always need to sell their house because people will always get a job somewhere else. And it's, interest rates are going up, and they'll be higher in February than they are now.
And they are now, yes.
And that will cost you more money, and home prices will, as you said, are going to continue to rise.
They're continuing to rise. It's okay to sell it in the winter. It actually works really well. It's usually the first people that come through your house. You might sell, you might show it to a few different people, but the first people that come through are usually people that wind up buying it. Of course, you want to make sure that your house is ready to sell. That's always a key thing. You don't want to have, messes and clutter everywhere. You want to have it staged properly. But just know that the winter can be a great time to sell. And the nice thing is that as the seller, you then have homes to go look at that you're not in that competitive marketplace anymore. So it's kind of a win-win, really.
Yeah. What are the costs to sell your home? Like, I know there's, obviously they got to pay for real estate agents, and then what do you pay for as a seller?
Well, to be honest, the biggest amount of money you're going to pay to sell your home is your commission to your real estate agent. It's going to be between 4 and 6%. So it kind of makes my heart beat a little harder, because I know that when you're going through that list, that item you're going to look at and go, I'm paying this much to my agent. It's might be shocking. A good agent's going to keep the ball rolling. It's going to keep all those. There's so many parts to it, and it can grow in terms of the more complex the property is. There's just being in contact with the loan officer and the escrow people and the title people and all those things. That's one thing, and then the appraisal, making sure that's happening, calling and making sure that the ball is still rolling. Your deadline is going to be the deadline instead of getting pushed out further and further. That's a really big thing that a good agent will do. Then there's the marketing part of it. A good agent walks in and says, guys, I'm going to be honest with you here, you got to get rid of like 95% of what you've got in your house. Okay, maybe not quite that much, maybe 80. But yeah, a good portion of that stuff that needs to be out of here. And we're gonna go through, and you got to change up how you have your stuff. You want people to walk in and be able to visualize themselves living in your home, not your stuff. And the other thing is photographs. 95% of people will eliminate homes based on seeing them online.
Mm-hmm.
So you need at a minimum a professional photographer.
Yeah.
What else? There's tons more.
So 6%, and what people think is like they see, well, I'm paying so and so 6%, but you're also half that always goes to the buyer's agent.
Yeah,
correct?
it does. Yes.
So one thing, buyers, you're not necessarily paying for an agent. You need to know that.
Yeah,
the
right.
sellers
Buyers
are
don't
paying
pay.
for that. When you sell your home, it's obviously different.
Yep.
And then they pay for any of the, obviously there's an option to pay for closing costs for the buyers, but that's an option. That depends on the negotiation.
Right.
What else would they have to pay to, like taxes, those kind of things?
Well, there's the excise tax, which is both state, county, and sometimes even your city. I think in Liberty Lake they charge a little bit too. So it can be around 1.8% of your sales price in excise tax.
Okay.
There is they buy what's called an owner's policy, which is a title insurance saying, yes, we're going to make sure that this title is clean, basically. I don't know how much to get into.
Right,
You know
right,
about that. Yeah. It can vary too with different types of loan programs. There can be at the VA, and I think it's worth it to have a VA loan from the perspective that somebody has served their country, and and as a nation we've decided we want to provide this type of loan for those people that serve our country in that way. But the seller has to pay the escrow, or the escrow basically, to have them sign, which is maybe $500. It could be more. It depends on how much the home price is, but maybe between $500 and $1,000.
Right.
Which I think is worth doing.
Right.
For
right.
that person. What else is there?
I think that's about. I think that's about it. It's basically sounds like it's about 9 to 10% of the purchase price, including the agents, including excise tax, including escrow, which you're going to pay half of it on every loan. If it's a VA loan, you may pay the other half.
Yeah.
And then you may have to obviously have some things done to the house, but figure around 10%. And then obviously the rest is you got to pay off your mortgage, and the rest you got to walk away with.
Right.
So we typically ask where you like to eat, but as I understand it, home is good for you with Sheldon's cooking. So
yes.
And you like to read books. Where's a great place to find a book in Spokane?
Well, I love Auntie's downtown. It's just got a great atmosphere. I found one of my favorite books is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And I found a hardback there, which I was so happy to find a hardback because I love quality books. So Auntie's is one. I like Barnes & Noble too. I can go there and sit on the floor and read any geeky book that I want. It's got lots of stuff, and of course Starbucks in there too, or whatever it is. I don't know. And then I prefer used bookstores if possible. I haven't found. I don't know which ones are really good around here yet, but I have to look a little more carefully.
There's one up on the South Hill that's called Second Look Books.
Yes, Second Look. Well, I'm going to be heading there.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us. Tell Facebook Land where they can find you.
Okay, hello Facebook Land. I think the best way to reach out to me is 509-655-7325. Call or text. That's my work number, so do it whenever you want. The other place is Facebook, Patti Hinman at Windermere at Liberty Lake, something like that. I'm sure you'll help tag me on that one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.